Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Organizing Untold podcast. My name is Sierra Hamilton, and I am your host of Organizing Untold. And today we have another guest, Azizadine, joining us today. And I can't see you. Did your camera go off? Give us one moment. Hey, okay, you good?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Um, Thank you for joining in as our guest for today's episode. For everyone who's listening in and who's tuning in, I did want to mention that we'll have some resources after this episode for you in the description box if you're looking at this on YouTube, and it'll be in the caption if you're looking at it on Facebook. And then we also have the description of what our organizing podcast is about, as well as you'll be able to read information about Azizadine and get to know him a little bit better and where you can find him to be able to follow him in his journey. So thank you, Azizadine, for joining in.
Yes.
Um, and if you could introduce yourself and let us know who you are and what you do.
So I'm Azizadine Amin. I stay in the greater Charlotte. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. Um, my day, I actually lead a team of young men and just helping them do different tasks. Outside of that, I'm a entrepreneur, been an entrepreneur going on about 7+ years. A variety of things. I actually help other entrepreneurs find events and different ways for them to promote their business, and I also have my own clothing slash accessory brand, and I do a bunch of other things. But I'm just a student of life and always willing to learn and improve each day. So.
Nice. Love it. Thank you for taking the time to let us know a little bit more about you, what you do, and who you are. And so we'll go ahead and jump right in. So this is the conversation is a little different on the last Wednesday of every month, and we'll just be able to talk about have an open conversation about what organizing looks like to you, and then also be able to have a conversation around any questions that you may have around organizing and how you may not feel as confident in it, and how we can just be able to talk through that. Sounds good to you?
Just sounds perfect.
All right. Well, what would you say if you had to describe organizing? What would you say organizing looks like for you?
Well, organizing is supposed to be easy, look neat, but for me, it's a challenge. I would say I definitely got better, but for me, it is a challenge. I have it organized, and the next minute it just go back to, and it's something I going into before this show, going into 2024 that I need to work on and that I want to work on. So
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And I mean, you did say that it should be perfect and it should be neat, but honestly, organizing, there are different ways to it. It has different forms, different personalized definitions, if you will, based on each person. So yeah, I would say that it doesn't necessarily have to be, um, or it doesn't always fit into the nice and neat category. Sometimes I will say that. Um, but no, yeah. What would you say like when it comes to organizing? What do you feel like you're not as confident in about it that you want to improve on?
I think with me, being an entrepreneur, we always and hopefully I'm putting it right. But being an entrepreneur, we always want the max amount of money or anything. So a lot of times with me, like I said, "Oh no, I have to put out everything." You see what I'm saying? Everything. So I think that I'll be missing out instead of putting a little bit out, organizing that, and then replacing it with the extra that I got. A lot of times I feel like I got to put everything out, and a lot of times that's where I miss organizing that. Like I give you an example, like I do sell like custom socks, sports socks and stuff, and I have got way better, but it was just in the beginning. I would go to events. It's crazy how how you get the feed, memory feed. And I went my first event. I kid you not, like maybe like 200 socks all piled up.
Yeah,
But over time, I actually realized that if I just double layer, they can see it better and it's way more organized. So just stuff like that. A lot of times I'm thinking that I want the, which entrepreneurs we want the most amount of money, but sometimes if you have it organized, you can actually easy access for the customers and easy for them to view it. So hopefully that.
that makes sense. So just to make sure I'm understanding you right, are you saying like, so say for example, with products in your case when it comes to the socks, like having not over not over overshooting yourself in a sense where you're having too much of the product at
Yeah.
the events and things like that, but knowing how to get just enough in a sense or a little over just enough to be able to still profit from what you have and also be able to have a couple more just in case you need it. Is that what
Yeah.
you're that makes sense. Okay. Okay. Do you feel like there's anything that you've done in the past that has like helped you narrow down on being able to have um, exactly what you need or close to exactly what you need that you can carry forward? Things that have been like success stories.
Yeah. So yes, I brought my sister, my mom with me to events, and my opinion, women are better organizers. So they help me, kind of explain, hey, people not gonna look at it if it's just piled up like that. But if you have it kind of color coded or laid out like this, where they can see it, it look more presentable. So
Okay, nice. So bringing extra people to the event who
yes,
you feel like are um, better in a sense in that, or maybe not better, but who are a little bit more organized than you are in the moment, and bringing them along to help get their eye and get their viewpoint on how to better organize what you have in order to be able to sell it. Is that about right? Yeah.
and also, my bad. Also, like just getting like different totes and kind of like putting labels and stuff on it as well, so this is for that and that is for that. So
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. So, do you feel like you have totes and labels your for your products per se, and just even for like your household items, things like that? Is that something that helps you?
So it do help me. I just have to be consistent. So it's like I would do it, and then let's say I go to a event or something where there's a whole bunch of people, they need to look through stuff. It get unorganized, and then organizing back is where I always fall. You know, where I always is challenging. Just like my room, be clean one time. You lose something, and you have to look for it. So
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. That's one thing I do feel about organizing. It's not a one and done type of
yeah,
type of situation. It's always something that you can return back to that it's like a process. Like I like to say, it's like a journey, something that you can have organized one day and then it gets disorganized or unorganized, and then you go back to it and rearrange it another way, readjust it a different way. But I do feel like it's all trial and error when it comes to organizing your things, and then they get unorganized or you lose something and you can't find it and have to go back and reorganize it. What would you say has been a product or either just a method of organizing that you have been consistent with and able to keep, even no matter how small it is? Do you feel like you have one?
I say with that one, far as my business is organizing my socks now. So now with me doing that, getting advice from my sock, now I put like the sports with the sports, the cartoons with the cartoons. So just figuring out different stuff that way. If
Yeah,
I pick it up, I say, "Oh, this stack I know is for sports, so I don't have to look no other area." So I say with that, I've been able to be better at. So.
that's good. That's good. And that made me think of something like, do you have a almost like a warehouse or a storage unit that you use to hold your stuff?
So yes, I do have a storage unit.
Okay.
Yeah, warehouse. I am looking into getting one, but right now I do have a storage unit.
Okay. And when it comes to the storage unit and combining the socks by category, like you just mentioned, do you use actual bins that have drawers, or do you use organizers that have drawers that you can pull out and that you can label, or is that something that you're still in
Well,
the process?
with the amount of socks I have, I use bins like the the big like gallon bins that they sell at like the Office Depots and stuff like that.
Okay,
Yeah, so
nice. Do you find those to be helpful, or do you feel like there's something else that could kind of like replace those?
they helpful for right now, but I'm pretty sure you might know of something else that could replace it or that would help me out. Because I was thinking about maybe doing like, but then again, I'm not like maybe rubber bands, like putting all the like sports stuff, putting the sports socks together, and then also tying them up with rubber bands. But just been thinking about different ideas, but
Yeah,
haven't actually did them yet. So
makes sense. Makes sense. Well, no, yeah, that's definitely more that we could talk about. We could delve into that in terms of like just figuring out what type of organizing products per se could potentially replace those bins. Um, when it comes to just bins in general, do you feel like it's you have to see it, like you have to it has to be a clear bin in order for you to be able to really go to it and know what's inside, or are you pretty good about just using any kind of bin, no matter whether it's clear or whether it's like a black bin or not?
yeah, I'm pretty good at using any kind of bin because most of my bins are black, so I
Okay.
don't think that's the problem.
Yeah. Okay.
I,
Nice. Oh, go ahead. You're about to say
I
something.
was like, I do need to. Uh, I do think that maybe having like a booklet or something just to keep up with like the count and stuff that would definitely help organizing. Well, help me organize better. So
Yeah. Like a book, almost like an inventory book. Is that what
yeah,
you're? Makes sense. Makes sense. Have you had one of those in the past?
I definitely have. I definitely have.
Yeah.
I
Has it been
definitely have.
successful?
But it's like you put it down and then it's
And
like
then,
you lose it. So it's like then
gotcha.
I do use my phone sometimes, but then it's like majority of the time, if I don't bring help, it's just me. So it's kind of like sometimes you get hit with a rush, so you just thinking about okay, getting the customer in and out, and so
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like being able to have specific, maybe specific locations for things so that it's in a place where you're not going to lose it per se, or
Yeah.
where the chances and risks of it being lost is limited and reduced. Does that sound about right?
Yes, that definitely sounds about right.
Yeah. And then also just being able to, like you said, bring on more than one person with you to different events, or even hiring a person. I know depending on just entrepreneurship and the ability to pay people as a part of your team, as a part of any business's team, sometimes may not be available as businesses are starting up. But even mentioning to them like, hey, this is going to be something that's going to take off further down the line. And for people who really believe in our businesses and in our dreams and goals, it may be something that they would be willing to commit to in terms of being a part and helping us to a certain extent.
Mm.
Would you say that's something that you would be open to?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, what question? So I'm gonna stop asking you questions, and I'm gonna let you ask the questions now, so that it's more of like a an open-ended conversation, and so that we're talking about just organizing and organization from your viewpoint as a whole. What questions would you say that you have about organizing that you have wanted to ask?
Perfect. So, how would you rate yourself far as organizing goes?
So I would rate myself. I mean, I'm a profession as a professional organizer, and as someone who has loved to organize since I was little, I would rate myself about a 7, 8. There's always room for improvement. So, like, what's the? I guess is the scale 1 to 10, with 10 being the
Yeah,
highest.
one. It's a scale 1 to 10.
Okay. Yep. I would say 7 or 8. There's always room for improvement. There's always more learning to do. Always more to know. So of course that 10 is kind of like it can be a number, but to for rating myself at a fair rate for myself personally, I would say a 7, 8.
Great. So, what are like some of the things that over time you notice that maybe can help me or somebody out there listening who's not as organized as you?
Yeah,
Oh,
so I would definitely say, um, one, my organizing services, just consultations, virtual organizing sessions. If you're not looking to do in person sessions, where I'm the one coming to help organize your space, the virtual organizing sessions are perfect for someone who is needing organizing, but they want to do it by themselves and they just need that extra guidance, that extra push. So that would definitely be something. But outside of my services, I would say to start small. So find one area of maybe your room or of your house, one area of your business, for example, that you know has been causing you a challenge, and taking baby steps to figure out why that area is causing you a challenge, and then create a game plan of what that looks like to be able to tackle that smallest area first, and then work out from that, so that that smaller area, tackling that, is going to help you gain a sense of accomplishment in a sense, and be able to motivate you to take on the next task, the next project, and be able to get to higher heights. Does that make sense?
no, it makes perfect sense. I also had a question because I know somebody thinking it. What would you say? Okay, let's just say somebody is out there listening and will love your in person service,
Mhm.
but on the flip side, and it might be just them, but they feel too embarrassed or what somebody else or what you might think of them to do the in person like service, if that makes sense. Do the question make sense?
Yeah, so just to
Okay.
repeat it back to you to make sure that I'm understanding. So you're saying that if they feel too embarrassed to call me in for the in-person organizing session,
Yes, but they
what
really need it in person versus the virtual.
that makes sense. So I would say one, I would refer them to my organizing podcast, which is what we're on now, what we're doing now, to help give them different examples of other people who are also along their journey of organizing, who are confident in their journey and who may not yet feel confident in their journey, so that they can see and notice that organizing is not a one person thing or not something that they, in a sense, should be ashamed of, not something that is judgmental, or that there's a community of people who are available for them to be able to, in a sense, gain insight and gain understanding from, so that they can know that, okay, wasn't this person isn't as organized as they would like to be, but they're taking the step to talk to Sierra and to talk on the podcast, on the episodes about just their journey. And they're not ashamed, they're not afraid. And it's not an area that's a stronghold for them yet,
Mhm.
but it's something that is growing to be that. So I would send them to my podcast so that they can be able to get that kind of insight first, and be able to just see other people and other people's journeys.
Perfect. I got one more question. What what tip or slash maybe book that you can that you have for somebody, or suggest a book that can help them towards organizing?
Yeah. So get back with me on that because I
Okay.
have a lot of books.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
So I need to take some time to go through those books to see which one I would recommend. I'll also, after this episode, take some time to look through that, and it'll either be located in the caption or the description box or in the comments, and I'll make sure that I follow back up with that book.
Great.
Any other questions?
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And any other questions related to like your organizing journey?
No, I think you covered it all.
Okay. All right. Well, related to organizing, even just like as you're in your where you are now, what would you say like is a tip that you have found helpful for you in your journey that you would want or be willing to share with other people who may still be growing more confident in their organizing journey?
So I would say just utilize. We entrepreneurs, so I think just utilizing people advice. Like, don't feel like you in a position where you know it all. Like a lot of times with me, being that I'm with people all the time, I get their advice how they would do this. And the matter of fact, man, prime example, it was Juneteenth 2020. Even though it's supposed to be shut down, but
Mm.
one of the customers actually seen that I was busy with a lot of customers, and she was willing to help and stay and help me organize. So it's just taking the help and asking people for advice.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
All right. Well, before we end, how can people stay connected to you and your journey? What do you have? Is there anything that you have going on currently that you want to share with the viewers and listeners for them to stay connected with you?
So yes, if anybody this weekend Sunday, I'll be at Columbia, South Carolina flea market, US 1 Metro. So if you down that way, you definitely can come check me out. Also, you can find me on Facebook at Legendary Fashion and Accessory. Also, you can find me at IG Legendary underscore Fashion underscore Accessory. Again, that's Facebook Legendary Fashion and Accessory. And then that's IG Legendary underscore Fashion underscore Accessory. and you will see my logo is a lion, so you will see me. So that's how you can reach me. So,
All right. And then what time will you be at the flea market on Saturday?
so Sunday I will be
Okay.
there between about 9 to 3, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
All right.
Yep.
So all my Columbia followers and friends and people listening, watching in, make sure that y'all go and support, go see Azizadine, and thank you again for joining in.
No,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Glad to have you, and I look forward to seeing you soon and talking with you more soon.
Yes,
All right. You have a good night.
you too.
All right. Thanks. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in for another episode of Organizing Untold. As we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, there will be resources that you'll be able to find about organizing in the description box if you're watching on YouTube, and in the caption if you're watching this on Facebook. And I'll also be sharing that book that I suggest and that I recommend to those who are looking to grow in their organizing journeys. I'll share that in the comments as well so that it's not crowding up the caption area. I also mentioned at the beginning that there will be a description of Organizing Untold and what our podcast is all about, found in the description box as well, and information that you can read to get to know more about Azizadine and be able to follow him on Facebook and on Instagram, stay connected with him in his organizing journey. Just to give a recap of Organizing Untold, this is a podcast where I feature busy business owners and full-time entrepreneurs, uh, full-time workers who work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Who may not yet be confident in their organizing journey, and so I feature those who are confident and those who may not be confident. So on the last Wednesday is when I feature those who may not yet be confident, but every other Wednesday at 6 p.m. or every other Wednesday, that's when you'll find different episodes about me featuring busy business owners and those who work 8 a.m. to 5 who are confident in their journey to help those who may not yet be confident in their journey. So make sure you continue to tune in. I did say that I also had an announcement for our podcast going forward as well. And so, as of February, the first episode of February, which is next week, that'll be starting on LinkedIn. So, we'll be on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn going forward. And you'll be able to tune in on those three locations in one of those three areas. So, I look forward to expanding my audience, seeing you all join in on whichever platform you choose to join in on. And again, Organizing Untold is a segment of Nicely Placed Organizing, where we organize for first-time home buyers, borderline hoarders, and full-time artists with art studios and workspaces. So if you or someone you know is within one of those categories, reach out to us at nicelyplacedorganizing.com. Head over to the contact tab and then fill out that form. We'd love to either have a discovery call with you to talk more about our services and about what organizing with us looks like, or to be able to go ahead and schedule you and book a service for you, for your home, for someone that you know that you'd like to gift a service to. So thank you for tuning in again, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Organizing Untold. Until then, have a good night. Bye.